Good evening, everybody, or at least it's evening when we're recording this. Welcome to a very special AEW Dynamite and Collision modcast review. For those who didn't see, Collision was on a Thursday this week as opposed to its usual Saturday. Although, can it ever really be a usual Saturday when they switch it up every single goddamn week? But that's beside the point. I am joined, as I am every week, by the I always falter at this part because you really are indescribable in your you know antiness. That said, I've just got us demonetized straight away. It's Dory, everybody.
Hello. Yes. Today, everyone, I had a heck of a day at camp. So if I feel a little tired or not as much energy, that's why. I was on a dunk tank. And so everybody basically
I,
got to live out Adam's dream of immediately giving me the karma I pretty much ritually deserve at this point.
I've never lived more vicariously through others since I bought The Sims for the first time.
Yeah. So, but yeah, still looking forward to talking about some Dynamite and Collision craps. It was a great week for AEW. I sound like Tony Khan. Oh God. It was a great week for AEW, and I'm really excited. You could go catch us in 9 days. 9 days. So
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I think we had a really good week this week. I love coming back to Chicago, and I really want to talk about. By the way, if any of you haven't seen, I just want to shout this out briefly. If any of you haven't seen the All In press, press conference afterwards, um, go and watch it after this, of course. But go and watch it because it is an absolute fever dream. I remember I watched it. When I was running on like 3 hours of sleep, having just watched sort of 10 hours of wrestling or however fucking long it was. And the guy just does not stop talking. He goes for like he gets asked like a very simple one sentence question. And he talks for like 15 minutes. It's brilliant.
yeah,
I cannot
I like
describe
to
how funny it was in the moment.
I like to think that the more autistic Tony is after a given event means the more successful it was, and I mean that I
Mm.
think that adds up with this particular example.
Oh, but honestly, fuck CM Punk because he couldn't get as autistic as he wanted to after the first All In. As you can imagine, if that hadn't happened, he would have been like, "This is the greatest day of my life. I love
Yep,
everything." Who wants to hear a 30-minute deep dive on all the tapes I used to trade when I was six
that's
years old?
right.
Anyway, enough about your old tapes, Mr. Khan. We need to talk about your new show, and we'll start with Dynamite, and we'll start at the beginning because um, I mean, sometimes the beginning is the most important part of the show. It wasn't this week, but there was something very, very good right at the start of the show, um, or at least close to the start of the show because it opened. I think it opened with a sort of video package for John Moxley and Adam Page, which I think was really good. Um, but the first sort of big thing that happened on the show was a quarter-final match in the sort of tag team eliminator, whatever you want to call it, between the Young Bucks and the Outrunners. And do you want to talk about the Young Bucks,
Yes,
um,
my
the
God.
Young Bucks entrance?
So this is incredible. So we had a friend there, so he told us that the Bucks were already in the ring, and I was already dying, and I'm like, this is incredible. They're doing like a jobber bit, and I was like, I wonder if they really will, because for people that don't know, they pitched creative last year for the Outrunners to go over them to actually like
Mm,
job out to them too in a squash match. That is to say, the Outrunners squashing the Bucks. But either way,
all
so
fine.
we get the Outrunners, they get the whole entrance. We cut to the Young Bucks, and the top says stat. The second says talent name, and the third says social media for their like little graphic that everybody gets when they come into the ring. Absolutely dying. This new bit that the Young Bucks are basically trashed to AEW after all they've done is just incredible. I love it so much. It's so good. It's so funny. I honestly bumped it up a quarter of a star just for this intro.
I know. There's
Just incredible shit.
like fair play to the Young Bucks because you know despite what what everyone may be saying on camera, they are still, executive vice presidents of All Elite Wrestling. I'm sure if they didn't want to be presented as a joke like this, they wouldn't have to. Like, they have
Right.
enough sway to be like, no, I'm not
Well,
doing that.
and remember, Tony Khan literally had to take the reins back from these guys and Cody because they weren't being selfish enough. He was like, "You guys aren't putting
Yeah.
yourself over." Like I've gone back and watched 2019, 2020 AEW, like the Bucks and Kenny and to a lesser extent Cody. I mean, they weren't doing great. I mean, they weren't total jobbers or whatever, but they weren't like top of the top as you would expect, right? They were basically either putting people over or winning just barely or in a contested like win-loss record. So I'm not really surprised that the Bucks are doing this. The Bucks have always
There's
seen themselves in a very centered way, in my opinion.
there's an argument to be made that if the sort of EVPs weren't being as selfless as they were, that you probably could have had either Kenny or Cody as the first ever AEW World Champion, and maybe you
Yeah.
should have. I'm not doing Chris Jericho revisionism here. I'm just saying, like, Kenny Omega as the first champion would have been a very big statement to make.
Yeah.
But
It's hard to disagree, but it is what it is.
point being, nobody's forcing the Bucks to do this.
Right.
They are fully willing and able to make the joke, make the joke be them, and I love them for it. Especially against a team like the Outrunners, who like that. We'll talk about this in a bit. FTR had a really great match with them a couple of weeks back on Collision, and then a rematch at All In that was it was good, but it wasn't as good as the first one.
Right.
But I have to believe, and we talked about this sort of privately, that there is some sort of professional, what's the word I'm looking for? Some professional one-upmanship where the Bucks will have seen that and known that they were going to have a match with the Outrunners and gone, yeah, we can do that better though.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know who did it better, but this was a phenomenal match. I really loved this match. There is nobody that builds to a hot tag quite like the Young Bucks. In opposition, they're phenomenal wrestlers, and this was a really really good match.
Yeah, I was one of those people who were on the Outrunners train very recently, or very quickly, I should say. And then as time went on, I'm like, I was kind of like, well, they're not amazing in the ring, but their gimmick is still really, really good. And then eventually I was like, well, their gimmick's good, but they're kind of lacking in the in ring. It could just be fucking smoke and mirrors. It could really just be that FTR and the Young Bucks are best in the world class, but I'm back on the Outrunners hype train for right now. They are really impressing me. I'm sure part of it is FTR and Young Bucks, but it does take two to tango. If you are just an absolutely shit team, then it doesn't matter how good the other team is, right? You're just going to fuck things up. So I do think that the Outrunners have something. I think with the right teams, they really shine. And I was honestly desperate for them to win by the end of it, which I didn't expect to feel that way. I was quite happy with the Bucks going over, although I wasn't sure if that would happen. But yeah, this was a really good match. Are there any spots you want to talk about in it?
Um, only to say that there were multiple times where um they fully believed. I fully believed that the Outrunners were going to win, and I gotta
Yeah.
be honest, I thought they were going to win right from the start. But there were so many great near falls in this match. I remember that there was a ref bump, or not quite a ref bump. The referee, who I believe was
Knox.
it Rick Knox? Yeah, I
Yes.
mean it's a Young Bucks match,
It's a Young Bucks
95%
match,
of the time.
so I mean it's probably Rick Knox.
Yeah, but Matt gets into an argument with Rick Knox, shoves him. Rick Knox shoves him back, and then Matt stumbles back into like a roll up by Turbo
Oh, I
Floyd,
thought this was it.
and that near fall, it's like what Excalibur says, 2.999 ad infinitum, which is one of the calls of all time.
I really like that call. I say 2.999 ad infinitum sometimes.
I know, I I've just heard it enough, man.
Oh, okay.
It's like I really love the song "Careless Whisper," but I've
Sure.
heard it so many times that it's like, yeah, can we move it on? Can we move it on now?
Sure.
But that's just me. But whatever. It was 2.999 recurring, as I would say. Um, but what like I fully bit. I completely thought that was the finish of the match, but it wasn't because um, well, Matt and Nick Jackson, they sort of got one of them. Don't make me say which one. I think it's Magnum. I think it's Truth Magnum that they pinned, but they get him up, hit him with the TK driver, which is
Yeah, it was
interesting.
truth.
It's interesting because the TK driver isn't really a finisher for them. Most of the time, if they're finishing a match, it's usually they can't even call it the EVP trigger, the trigger, we'll call it.
The DCF
Uh,
trigger.
yeah. The EBT trigger.
God.
I know, but they usually hit the trigger to win matches, so it was intriguing. I mean, it's a brilliant move. I just thought it was
Right.
interesting that that's what they won with.
Clearly a message to Tony Khan himself. He's getting round 2 of neck surgery this year.
Yeah, they missed the draft, but they could still get it in time for the first game.
Exactly. I can't believe
Uh,
that was this year. That feels so long ago. But
it
either way,
wasn't.
this was
It
great.
wasn't this.
Turbo and Truth
Oh,
hit the
sorry,
total. Oh, go ahead.
it wasn't this year. It was last year.
Oh, was it last year? God, that's why it feels so long ago. Thank God. I honestly could have believed it was this year.
It was
Anyway,
like 18 months ago.
oh my God, was it really? Wow.
Hmm.
I said I was tired earlier, so that's gonna be my excuse throughout the podcast. But yeah, Turbo and Truth hit the total recall on Matt. I for a split second I was like, oh my God, they've got it. But then I saw that Nick was on the outside. I'm like, oh, he's gonna break it up. So this was great. This was a really great match. Honestly, this and somehow the world title match pretty much neck and neck for my match of the night. But we'll talk about that.
I
Um,
mean, it's not neck and neck for me. I think the world title match is a phenomenal piece of business. Um,
yeah,
I think it's one of my certainly TV matches of the year. But we'll talk
wow,
about that in a minute.
sure.
Um, post match, the Young Bucks sort of beat down, you know, the Outrunners. Okada's music hits, comes down, just decides to beat on them as well, which good for him. And then Smooth Strickland's music hits and comes down for the save. So yeah, obviously, um, Swerve and Okada are feuding, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But nice little post match segment. Not much to talk about. Um,
Excited for that trios match to happen.
I think it probably has it been announced.
It hasn't, but it almost certainly is happening.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Although I don't know though, because the Young Bucks are pretty preoccupied with that tournament.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it'll be something that they do in the middle of it. I mean, they don't have to fight the winners of well, yeah, the Brotito. I don't
I
know. Well,
believe
so
they.
then maybe
I
that is a reason
believe.
that they're gonna get knocked out. I don't know by Brotito, but we'll talk about it, I guess.
I believe that they do. Is it next? No, it's not next week. It's the week
No,
after.
it is next Wednesday. It's next Wednesday that they're fighting Brotito.
Oh, right. Okay.
So
It
maybe
is next
they'll
Wednesday.
save it for Collision or the Dynamite after if they lose.
Entirely possible. But I do think
Anyway,
again, I think you're right. Anyway,
yes.
yes. So after that, Mark Briscoe is sort of backstage talking about MJF. Ricochet and the Gates of Agony interrupt him. Sort of warning because they're having a match, which actually surprisingly turned out to be the main event, which I was not expecting whatsoever.
No. The
Um,
we
we'll
should
talk-
we should definitely talk about this at some point. Could be right now, doesn't have to be, but the layout of this, the formatting for this episode was very strange. I'm not gonna say it was
it
bad,
was. It was
but
odd. I wouldn't go as far as to say it was bad because
right.
I understand why they did it. But when you have a world title match like that, I don't know. There is still a part of me that says, well, it kind of should be the main event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think I think you probably there was a way to do it that you could do what they did in the actual main event and the post match and stuff without it being the last thing on the show.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. There are reasons for why I think they did the main event where they did it. I think for, for quarter hour ratings, for, the lack of jeopardy, for it being a rematch. But although I say lack of jeoparty, but
I was gonna
I
say,
was
would you say lack of jeopardy?
the
Fuck
the
me running this
the
match.
theoretical, face value, the lack of jeopardy involved here, because you can't see Hangman winning, but that doesn't stop me from sweating bullets. Um, but again,
Well,
another thing we'll talk about later. There are reasons why I could see this, but I don't really see why we didn't main event with the women. I thought that's what we were gonna do. I get it that Max is in the most successful movie in America in terms of Netflix, but like I don't know. I that's all I can think about. That's all I can think about for this. I mean, maybe we're just main eventing Mark Briscoe just because we want to get him in the title picture. It sure seems like Hangman Adam Page wants him in the title picture. So maybe I don't know. I'm drawing like I'm trying to like
yeah. I mean,
make
it really
things
doesn't
up
matter.
at this point. Yeah.
We've got like 4 hours to talk about. I don't want to
Yeah.
waste time talking about like
Sure.
the layout of a Dynamite, but it was a little bit strange.
Yeah.
Um, then we had the Hurt Syndicate, Song's MVP. Well, it was basically MJF and Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah.
Uh,
This we got to
so
talk about.
yes, we do. Because Shelton Benjamin says, I want to. Well, MJF says, I want to say, sorry for how Bob acted last week. Obviously saying, trying to spin around on him as he does. And Shelton Benjamin is like, I'm going to stop you right there. MVP isn't here because he's disgusted with you. And I was like, oh, okay. Um, and says, "Have you got the time?" And he was like, "No, dude. I gave you my watch." Which, great wrestling logic to think that MJF hasn't replaced his watch in the like 6 to 8 weeks since he gave it to Shelton Benjamin. Um, Shelton Benjamin pulls off the watch. He's like, "Yeah, it's a good watch. It's the best watch I've ever seen off Timu." And then he throws it, and it legitimately shatters. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it was a really cheap fucking watch." Um, obviously say, I know it's a fake, and basically I know you're a fake as well because you're only in the thing to get what you want out of us. We're not, like Bobby Lashley said last week, we're not your lackeys. We don't just work for you. And Shelton said the only reason you were in the Hurt Syndicate in the first place is because MVP vouched for you, and since he's not vouching for you anymore, you're out. I thought this was, first of all, Shelton Benjamin, great promo. Man can talk. Don't know what the fuck that old man was thinking. You know what I mean?
No, I mean I know what you mean. 1950s era thinking, maybe. I don't know. Just the thought.
Mm. Keep it up, mad something. Um, sorry. But second of all, this feel a bit abrupt to you?
It did. Now, all right. I have a couple reactions to this. First off, whoa, what the fuck? Like I did not see this coming at all. But number
Mm.
two, I'm feeling a little bit of a who's house right now. Like not in terms of Swerve getting involved, but I mean I'm smelling a little Russo involved here. Again, much better writing quality. These are all bad metaphors. You know what I'm saying. I don't buy it. It's so sudden, it's so abrupt. Unless there's backstage heat with MJF and some of the Hurt Syndicate, and that's possible. MJF rubs people the wrong way. I don't know why he's an angel, but he's never done anything wrong in his life, I'm pretty sure, except for that one time. And she ended up being fine, so it's fine. But anyway, if you know, you know. But regardless,
My head canon is that that's still Liv Morgan.
yeah, absolutely, 100%. But either way, I feel like we're getting worked. I feel like we're getting worked. I feel like I like what Simon Miller said about this, that MJF is going to work his way up to getting a title shot throughout the year because he's lazy, and I respect that. And then when he inevitably loses to the Cowboy, he's going to, kind of. I think maybe he'll try to make it seem like he's changed, shake his hand, lights go out, Hurt Syndicate attack, and then you have him cash in, and then like he still wins or something. I don't know. But I just don't buy this. Either way, no matter if that happens or not, I don't buy this. It's very sudden. Unless there's backstage heat, this is a weird thing to do writing wise for me.
It really is. Like, I don't know. Like, you say, oh yeah, it's a swerve, whatever. There's got to be a storyline reason. And like, when they do that, it's usually the case of like, oh well, I can see a direction they could go. Perhaps they'll go in a different direction. This, I have no fucking idea what they're doing. And sometimes there have been periods in this story where I've gone, I have no idea what they're doing, and it's a good thing. I'm really intrigued. This is the first time where I'm like, I have no idea what they're doing, and I'm not sure, what the. It's a bit more of a negative sort of what the fuck are you doing type thing
Right.
for me.
Yeah, I'm very. I have a lot of trepidation about this. I'm still very curious what happens, but part of me is feeling like it is going to be a swerve and they are going to back him up eventually. But I mean, we could be wrong, but I don't know. I feel like Max is very crafty, and so I wonder if this is all part of a plan. But I mean, it could just be played straight. Maybe he's just fucking out of the syndicate. I think that's kind of wild. I think that had a lot of juice left in the storyline, so to speak. So if it really is
I
like
certainly
presuming,
think
yeah,
I certainly think that if he is out of the syndicate, then it's a missed opportunity to spit. Because I think the way that they've done it, it's a case of like, oh, you're just out, as opposed to if they were going to kick him out, they should have spun it off into a feud. You get what I mean? Like, I was
right,
itching for that MJF versus Bobby Lashley match, a couple of months ago,
right.
and
So that's
now
that's
now I
why I'm
don't know.
wondering if there's backstage heat involved. I mean, we know. Sorry, getting close to my mic. We know the Pinnacle didn't go well for similar reasons, right? So, I mean, maybe it is the first time MJF has been in a stable in a while. But I mean, on the other hand, we haven't heard of anything. I feel like if there was backstage heat, it's not like it's not like any of these guys are very quiet, right? MVP's not
Yeah,
a silent man about people he has problems with. So, and
no,
neither are
neither
Bobby
is
or
Bob.
Sho
Yeah, I was going to
right,
say Bobby Lashley, especially. Like there was a report back when he debuted. You remember you had Bobby Lashley versus Swerve Strickland. There was a report that
right,
like they had the first match. Bobby went over, and there was a report that was like it was going to be bigger than it was going to be a bigger feud than that. Multi pay-per-view, but there were creative differences, which basically everyone took to mean neither man wanted to lose. And it's like, okay, fair enough. Arguably neither man should be losing in that equation.
right,
But it did highlight to me that Bobby Lashley is a man who is sort of very willing to sort of put his foot down and be like, no, we're not going to do that. So
yeah,
perhaps there's backstage heat, but I don't. It's pure speculation.
yeah,
Perhaps they will go in a completely different direction, and we'll all go, "Oh my god, that was incredible!" You know,
yeah.
AEW
So
has earned the benefit of the doubt in situations like this for me,
exactly.
which by the way they didn't a year ago. Want to say that goodwill has been built up very thoroughly. Well done them. Um, but we will let it play out, as they say.
Yeah.
Um, thank goodness that they sort of barricaded all of the stuffed all of the things that I had a problem with in like a nice 20-minute segment that we can talk about, because after that came Christian Cage's promo, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, it went like 10 minutes. I could not tell you a single word he said apart from I'm conducting business.
Yeah, this was rough. Christian's great. He's super underrated. I think that people do not value him appropriately, and I have a lot of good things to say about Christian's run in AEW. I think he's proved a lot of
Mm.
doubters wrong. Here comes the but though. This promo was not it. I don't know exactly what was going on. I don't know if Christian is just trying to adapt to the new character and he was just a little nervous, which is weird to me. He's a veteran, but I mean, I feel like even veterans can get nervous sometimes, right? I don't know. But
Hmm.
either way, he clearly was dealing with some kind of nerves. And like, yeah, he can pass off one or two, excuse me, I'm conducting business. But when the third one hits and no one is making any noise, it just rings hollow. Like you're clearly just buying time for yourself.
Yeah.
So I look, I mean, this was mostly to set up the concerto that also some people went fucking ballistic about online. Look, the camera angle wasn't great. It didn't look good to the live audience, but like, it's a standing up concerto. It's never gonna look great. That's why they almost always do it on the ring, right? So I don't really care about that. I care more about the fact that this went, like you said, 10 minutes. It was too long. He just took too many breaks. I'm not even saying it was bad. I'm just saying it was forgettable. It moved stuff along a little bit just to write off Christian again, I think. So I'm not sure what we're doing here. The creative seemed a little muddled here.
Yeah, I'll go as far to say that this was a bad promo. Not in the sense of like the content was bad necessarily. It's just it was rambling. He flubbed his lines God knows how many times. The crowd was, sort of quite into it at the start because, there is a certain level that we have come to expect from Christian Cage where it's like, oh yeah, it's Christian Cage, he's excellent. But yeah, I no idea what he was doing. No idea what was going through his head, what was whether there was anything sort of playing on his mind or whatever. But this was 10 minutes. It was 7 to 8 minutes too long. Like I say, if this had been like a 3 minute promo where he just concisely said, Adam Copeland, you tell me to go find myself, and I'm an asshole, blah blah blah. But Nick Wayne cut his shit basically. If he'd have just done that, excellent, good. Bring out Nick Wayne, do that. The fact that it was 10 minutes just dilutes everything he's saying. Like I said, I can't remember a single thing that he said because a everything just got completely lost in the shuffle of what he was saying, and b whenever he would make a point, it would immediately be undercut by the fact that he would flub his lines and do that I'm conducting business, which is fine once. We get what you're doing, but it just came off really cringe at the end, which is sad because if there's one thing that Christian, despite the fact that his character could easily stray into that territory, the dead father stuff could easily be quite cringeworthy. He's always towed the line very well, but this was the first time I was like, man, that wasn't good. And then yeah, the concerto was just. I mean, I don't get people going ballistic about it. It was just not very good. Like, it was plainly obvious that the worst thing that happened to him was the loud bang.
Yeah. I actually, when it happened, I did go ooh for a second. Not because like it still looks like it sucks, right? I mean, I got yelling in my ear all the fucking time, right? And so
Sorry.
um but so I mean it still looked like it sucked, but yeah, I mean when you really closely look at it and the online reaction, it's like, yeah, it didn't look great. The angle wasn't good, and it's just hard to do I'm not sure why they did it standing up. They should have done it. They should have knocked
The whole,
Christian out with a chair shot and then did the concerto. I don't know. I did like,
the
by the
whole
way, that
point
Cope didn't
of
come out to. Sorry, go ahead.
No, no, I was just going to say the whole point of a concerto being on the ground is that you can smoke and mirrors the fact that you're not actually hitting them. Because the
Right.
camera angle is such that you can sort of smack the chair, the lip of the chair on the bottom one, angle it so that nobody's head gets crushed, and it still looks devastating. But this,
Right.
it's impossible to line up. But anyway, yeah, carry on.
Yeah, yeah. So I like that Cope didn't come out to help him. It kind of reinforced that he's like, I'm not here for Christian Cage. I'm here because, the patriarchy did a bunch of shit to me and fuck them. Um, and he wants Christian to find himself. But yeah, this was a lackluster promo, which is weird. I think Christian will right the ship. I don't think this is anything to be too concerned about, but is what it is.
Yeah, yeah. One time it's like, oh, that was unusual. But you know, I will be watching the next one a lot more closely than I would have been before because there are rights that wrongs that need to be righted. But briefly then, Stokely Hathaway was on screen and was like, I don't like Hope or the Hurt Syndicate, blah, blah, blah. We're ready for the Bang Bang Gang. The Bucks come along and start, shooting the shit, being very sort of friendly about FTR. And then Stokely says, hang on a minute, hang on. You guys aren't EVPs anymore, right? And they're like, no. He just goes, and I love that. I love this ongoing thing of like people realizing that they can just fuck with the Young Bucks now and there's nothing they can do about it. Because
So good.
everyone knows that there is that one person that throws around their weight, throws around their authority, and you're like, God, I wish they would. I wish I could just fucking, mess with them and, talk shit about them to their face, and they can't do anything. It's perfect. It's a perfect comeuppance.
It's great stuff.
But now we need to talk about my favorite thing on the show, which is surprisingly, again, like we said in the middle of the show, but it's the AEW World Title match. Everyone is banned from ringside. Asterisk. Which we'll talk about in a bit. But just to say right off the bat, what a match. What a match. I mean, I knew it was going to be good. Because there's no way that these two are going to put on a bad match. They have absolute preternatural chemistry. So this was always going to be excellent. But even this surpassed my expectations in a very specific way that we'll talk about. But what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret that I prefer Mox in a stipulation match, although that did happen eventually. But I don't mind Mox as a brawler. I've never been the biggest Mox fan in the ring, and that's not because he's bad or anything like that. It's just his style has never really resonated with me. Even looking back at his 2019, 2020 matches, anytime he didn't do a stipulation match, I was just like, well, that was good, but it just doesn't do a lot for me. His style, particular style, which is very brawl heavy, which is fine, but just doesn't get me as much. His character's always been tremendous, of course, and on the promo, he's great. But yeah, I mean, all that to say, this was a really great match. I posted on Blue Sky. I was like, me, 95% chance Hangman's winning, no question. Also me. Wow, why am I sweating so much? This is weird.
My God. Right, there were a number of. This is what I was on about, right? This surpassed my expectations in a very specific way, which was I went into this thinking it was going to be excellent, and it was. But I also went into this thinking there's no way that Hangman's losing. There's absolutely no way that they're gonna do the change and whatever. And they surpassed my expectations for having me believe, even if it was just for like 5-10 seconds, that Moxley was absolutely walking away with the belt. And I'm not just saying that in like a kitsch where, oh, well, I thought that might have been the finish. No, I believed. My heart sank into my stomach. Like, genuinely, I went cold because I was like, oh my God, they're not going to do that. Holy shit. They're actually going to put the belt back on Moxley. And then when Hangman kicked out, I think I legitimately let out like a fucking yelp of like triumph, basically, because I fully believe. Well, like, the stipulation was everyone was banned from ringside, but the referee went down, which I saw some people complaining about online. Like, come on, guys, just because it's overdone somewhere else doesn't mean that it can't be done at here as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I didn't expect for it to happen for some reason, but when it did, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, same. I expected them to honor the stip until it happened, and I was like, I mean, of course, it's the fucking Death Riders. Like, but out comes Claudio and Wheeler to distract the security that was ringside. But Marina Shafir sort of slid the what's the word I'm looking for? Slid the title into the ring and platters Hangman Page with the belt. And I perhaps I have PTSD from WrestleMania 41 with Cody and Cena with that really weak looking belt shot being it. But he clatters in with the belt. The referee comes, crawls over, and he does that really slow count. And I'm thinking, that's it. That's it. Oh my god. What the fuck are you doing? In the middle of the show. In the middle of a Dynamite, after the triumphant return, after the triumphant win of Hangman Page, you're just going to reverse it in 3 weeks by having Mox. Oh my god, he kicked out. Fucking hell. Incredible, incredible stuff. And that's not to discount the rest of the match that happened before or after this, because they really laid it into each other.
Yes. Lots of really good
But
looking pile drivers, lots of stiff
mm,
shots, clotheslines, Orihara moonsaults, Mox giving some really nice looking German suplexes multiple times. And it just, I mean, it
Hangman,
was just really good.
Hangman doing a label lock, which really popped
Yes.
me.
And
He
Mox
went to
countered
do
at
the
first, so I thought, oh, they're just teasing. They're actually going to do it. But then they actually did it. And I was like, ah,
no, Mox countered the stomps. The I don't know what you call them, the yes stomps, I guess.
sure.
But yeah, I mean, lovely homage. Have to believe that he is coming back at some point. Please,
Yes.
I beg of you, Brian. I don't want to live in a world where you're not wrestling. I did have
But
a
basically the match ended with, if we're ready to go to that,
yeah.
with Darby appearing in the balcony box, crashing down on Castagnoli, Yuta, Shafir, security. Moxley just looking on like, oh fuck me, dude. Like just like, God damn it. So that sets us up for Collision later on. But basically that takes out the Death Riders as security was trying, useless security guards, as Simon Miller would say. We're trying to deal with them. And he knows he's been a useless security guard before. And he takes them out. Darby takes them out, and then back in the ring, Hangman hits Mox not just with one buckshot lariat, but a second one, and as well as a dead eye, and gets the pin. I was overjoyed. This was a really great match. They fucking sold me a ticket or two on this one.
They sold
I
me an entire arena, Dory. Like, for me to go from 100% Hangman is winning, no chance in hell,
right.
this will be a great match, but there's no way, to for like a good 10 seconds thinking that's it, he's done. He's done. There's no, oh my god, what the fuck are you doing? Properly crashing out in my own head. Like, not just sort of, oh, he's won. Properly cursing the sky, thinking it's a done deal. Like,
Yeah.
fair play. That is testament
It
to
was excellent
he's.
booking on that. I couldn't
Mm,
believe that I was starting to get nervous about whether Hangman was winning or not after I was so sure that he was winning before. So
mm.
this was good stuff, and I'm really glad they did this. I'm not sure about the placement, but is what it is. I thought they did this really well. It closes out the segment, and it shows Mox that, okay, I've got to move on. I've got to focus on Darby because he's trying to take everything away from me, and that includes you know, the L train. So yeah, we'll talk about that later. But yeah.
We will. Um, Brief sort of video package on Dustin Rhodes and Carl Fletcher, which we will talk about. Brace yourselves for that one. There's so much to talk about in that match.
Uh-huh.
Um, but after that, we had the women's tag team match of Tony Storm and Alex Windsor versus Athena and Billy Starks. Want to put over two people in this match in particular. One is obviously Athena because she's perfect, and I don't know. I was saying to a friend of the show, Hirons, that I don't know when the novelty will wear off of Athena being on AEW, but it's going to take a long time because we minions have suffered in the dark, in the depths of what is Ring of Honor for years now, and now we are finally seeing the light of day. And every time she's on AEW TV, I'm like, this is a dream. I'm so happy. But also, I want to put over Alex Windsor in this match. I thought it was a really excellent showing for her. And obviously she was in, the Casino Gauntlet. She had that match against Athena on Saturday, which I thought was really, really excellent. Best thing on the show by a country mile. But I think this was, it's no secret that more people watch Dynamite than Collision. So to have a big showcase on a Dynamite like this, I think and to be put with Tony Storm right off the bat, I think is a really good sort of signal to everyone that Alex Windsor is a really special talent, which she is. People in Britain we've known this. We've known it for years. So yeah, really good.
Yeah, this was a great match. Very physical again. Billy just kills herself wherever she goes, and I love her for it. And one of my favorite moments was when Tony and Alex decided to fucking slow dance their way into a double boot for Billy getting it in the corner. So that was great. And
Yes.
yeah, Athena looks great. All of as usual, her offense looked really crisp and hard hitting. And I think what really surprises me about this match is the finish. I mean, I don't want to blow past it too much, but I don't think anything like in terms of moves really like grabbed me. It was just a solid all around match, TV match. But what really got me was the finish, which was Athena hitting the O face on Tony Storm and then just pinning Tony, just clean as a whistle, which I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that because I've been conditioned
I
for the last fucking 20, 25 years that means bad things,
yeah,
actually.
I got into this quite sort of nastily. Not nastily, but quite vehemently with with someone the other day because they were sort of crashing out about the same sort of thing where it's like, oh my god, she pinned the champion, that means she's never, she's not winning the title. I was like, first of all, shut the fuck up because she's winning the title. I will not tolerate anything else. But second of all, the whole idea of booking maths, which is what this is, well, you pin the champion, that means that you're not gonna win, the title or whatever. That is a Vinceism. And we need collectively, as a fandom, to move past these Vince McMahon encoded techniques. The man has had a stranglehold on our wrestling brains for far too long. And, AEW has done wonders in reversing a lot of those sort of Vinceisms. I'm thinking in particular the Vinceism of the the hometown hero loses. Whereas AEW has done a big thing of like, no, when the person is in their hometown, they should probably win. So like, we have done work in other areas of the sport, and I think we all need to collectively mentally process the idea that actually just because you pin the champion does not mean that you're necessarily going to lose the title match that follows.
Yeah.
Perhaps the champion can just be pinned twice. Have you considered that?
And
Especially when it's someone as dominant as Athena.
yeah.
Like fair play. If I don't want to bag on this woman too much, but if it had been like, I don't know, Deonna Purrazzo had pinned Timeless Tony Storm, then I probably would have been like, oh right, yeah, okay, she's not winning the title then. But the fact that it's Athena, I mean, it's Athena.
I'm shaking my head at you. You know what you did.
But man, like she's just, I don't know.
I'm shaking my head at you. We're moving on. I'm
Um,
just gonna shake my head at you and we're gonna move on.
mm-hmm.
But either way, this was a very surprising result to me. I agree with you that wrestling maths should be abolished, just like all maths, really, except for D&D maths.
Yeah.
That's fine, I guess. But
I also,
um,
oh, I also just want to,
yeah,
say very quickly. I have seen over the course of my sort of wrestling fandom, probably at least 100, whatever you want to call them, O faces, eclipses, whatever she called it at the time. I still don't understand how she does it. And there was a whole segment, I can't remember whether it was on Dynamite or Collision, that broke down the mechanics, almost like Taz explains, but not
right,
quite,
right.
about the mechanics of the O face, and I still don't get it. I still don't understand how she does it, but it's awesome every single
Now,
time.
one thing I want to talk about, this is a very nerdy thing, but I want to say that I was a little surprised that Athena didn't just just cash in here. Now, I'll say my interpretation first. I think Athena wants to play mind games with her, and she does say later, I think on Collision, that she doesn't want to beat Tony on a small stage, right? She doesn't want to win the title in fucking Chicago or whatever. She wants to win it on a big stage. So that's why she wants to do it and we'll get into this Forbidden Door. So I think that's why she didn't do it here. But still, I mean, Alex Windsor was taken out. Billy was, okay, and could have backed up Athena. But I don't know. I know somebody, might have been you, speculated that Athena doesn't trust Billy enough to cash it in there.
I wouldn't say that. I don't think it wasn't me that said that, but
okay. But so I'm not sure why she didn't cash in here, because really, I mean, Tony was taken out, Alex was taken out, and I don't mean a dinner, and it seemed like the perfect opportunity for her to cash in. But like I said, she does clarify later she didn't want to do it then because I guess it just wasn't a big enough venue, and she wants it to be on pay-per-view. It's also not clear to me, is the Forbidden Door match her cashing in, or is this just a normal match that she's won by beating Tony clean as a sheet, and then she can cash in after the fact? I'm confused on that too.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. That is the one thing I wasn't necessarily gonna bring up, because I gotta be honest, I've forgotten about it. But yeah, I am confused about that. I do hope we get some clarification on that. But I cannot be mad at her not cashing in. Storyline, sense or rationality be damned. I simply do not give a shit. And following on from that, there was a thing about I think it was on Collision where Swerve said that they're gonna, was it on Collision or Dynamite? I can't remember. But the point is, we'll talk about it later. But I cannot be mad at the fact that I'm getting to see Athena versus Toni Storm. In person, I'm getting to see fucking Athena. I've never seen Athena wrestle. She's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
Wow! And I forgot about that.
I've never seen her wrestle in person. She's never wrestled at like an all-in. She wasn't on the fucking Dynamite that I went to in Cardiff. But I'm going to see her wrestle. I'm going to go and see her fucking wrestle Toni Storm. Like, how can there is no rationality. There is no point or anything that you could bring up to me to make me go, oh yeah, actually, I understand, people's trepidation or misunderstand. No, fuck all of you. I'm getting to see Athena versus Toni Storm in person. I could give less of a shit how we get there. The fact is that we've got there, and I am at the destination too. So fuck all of you.
Well, I'm not. So I am thinking about the rationalization, but I do agree it's not a super important point. That's why I said it's a very nerdy sort of thing to talk about. My idea of it is, I think she just got the opportunity by pinning her, and she has the contract in the bag, in her back pocket. So when Tony probably beats her, then Billy's probably, Athena will, while Tony is celebrating, Athena will execute the contract behind her back, hit her with the title, and then she'll roll her up and hit the O-face or whatever, and then she'll hit her, she'll get the title. That way, they go 1-1, and then Athena goes over and da 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 da. So that's what I would do, just to like make everybody look strong, but still make Athena look very lively. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I was a little confused on this after thinking about it, mostly after watching, I know I've already mentioned a couple times, but Simon Miller's review. I was like, yeah, wait, why didn't she cash in right there? But I agree. I'm very glad that we're getting it at Forbidden Door, and I hope that she's keeping her contract in her back pocket. She didn't say during the promo that she was executing the contract at Forbidden Door, so I presume that's not the case.
I mean, we'll see. Look, I don't care. This is one of those things where it's like, with whatever the situation, the ends justify the means for me. I don't care how we get there, but
sure,
I care first and foremost, predominantly, that Athena walks out of the O2 Arena as AEW Women's World Champion. I do not care about any shenanigans, whether she wins it clean, whether she wins it fair, whether she wins it with the contract, whether she doesn't, blah, 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 blah. Could not give less of a shit. I just want it to happen. I want
All
to
right.
lose my voice screaming when Athena holds that belt above her head.
Last thing
Rest
I'll
doesn't
say about
matter.
this. I know we're diametrically opposed on this one, or not opposed, but like just you're in a different place about it than I am. But I will say I would not be surprised if like you said, Athena does beat her twice. Tony loves Athena, the Tony Khan. I mean, I'm sure Tony Storm does too. But Tony Khan loves Athena, and I mean, I know some people don't think that because whatever, she's been on ROH for a long time. But I mean, she is ROH. I mean, the men's champion feels lesser than the women's champion. We've had way more
When,
discourse about who's the champion than who's the men's, and I think that speaks to how much Tony Khan has given to Athena as just the leader of
when
an
you consider
entire wrestling brand.
when you consider Tony Khan has Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, Kazuchika Okada, Swerve Strickland, Mercedes Moné, all of these incredible wrestlers under contract, he has publicly stated that he thinks Athena is the best wrestler in the world. That should speak absolute volumes about how much this man values her. Which makes me just more confident that she's gonna win. And I want it to happen more than anything. I really do. So personally, fuck it. Someone like me, puts in the main event of Forbidden Door.
Mm.
Just
Wouldn't
saying.
wouldn't be mad about that. Wouldn't be mad. All right. So the next thing was Hangman calling MJF a coward. Completely uncalled for. Very rude. And heck you, Seabiscuit. But this was great. This was another little back and forth, and ended with Hangman again asking MJF if he thinks he can be goaded into giving MJF a title shot by bringing up Swerve, and he's like, I don't see the Hurt Syndicate, so what's preventing me from beating your ass? So just more build up between Hangman and MJF. Hangman saying you're gonna have to get through Briscoe to get to me. So yeah, I don't know if there's much more to say there.
No. Just a standard continuation promo. It happens. Good for
Right.
them. Um,
Willow.
Willow Willow Nightingale. She's like, I love Willow so much. She says that she's not sort of impressed. She doesn't care about the triangle of madness because she is the trapezoid of grapazoid. I love her so much. I really
She's
do.
just incredible.
Um, and I remember, I say I remember, it was like 2 nights ago. But I got really, really excited because Willow versus Tekla, I remember thinking that's going to be absolutely excellent. Spoiler alert, it was really excellent. And we'll talk about it in a minute. But first we got to talk about the main event of Dynamite, which was Ricochet versus Mark Briscoe. Very much, very much a feud that I think will be one of those sort of off and on for the rest of time, where it's just like every now and then we can just go back to Ricochet versus Mark Briscoe because they really do have a lot of excellent chemistry in the ring. Having said that, I do think that this was, I suppose it was because there wasn't anything riding on it. But this was probably my weakest match of the night. Not by any means saying that it was bad. I thought it was good. But I think this was, you know, a peculiar choice, match-wise, to end on, I would say.
Yeah, I'm with you. It was a little weird to end on this note. Again, I agree with you. Not a bad match, but it didn't blow me away. I'm not really sure why I got the main event spot, besides the MJF explanation of him being in, Happy Gilmore too. But I don't really think that's enough. Or us just wanting,
No.
or TK just wanting Mark to be in the main event so that he feels like a world title contender, but or at least a contender for MJF a little bit more. So I don't know. I thought that I had this going multiple ways. So I thought, okay, so either Briscoe wins clean or he wins by DQ because of Gates of Agony. I didn't see Brodito getting involved here, or I didn't see that coming. I mean, obviously I saw it happen, but I didn't think about that, but it made total sense. So I liked that bit of booking right there.
Yeah, and I did, and I just love seeing Bandito and Brody King, whatever the context.
Exactly.
Good little match. Mark Briscoe won with the J Driller, which makes sense given what he said after the match, which is more important really than the match itself. Good match, check it out if you haven't. But what happens after the match is, Mark Briscoe gets on the mic. I love this. I think this is one of the most killer lines I've ever heard anyone say in a promo. Because Mark Briscoe is saying, I'm whatever, I'm a good guy, blah, 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 blah. But you're making me wonder if I'll ever see my brother again. Because I know that he's up there, what's he say, in his mansion? He's up there in
Yes.
heaven. But if I do what I want to do to you, if I kill you and I don't repent, I'm going to hell and I'll never see my brother again. I'm underselling it, but it's such a phenomenal, the sentiment of my brother's up in heaven. I may never see him again because the things I'm going to do to you are unforgivable sins. Oh, like when we say we want serious Mark Briscoe to come out in this feud, this is exactly what we're talking about. The sort of man where it's like, yeah, he's going to kill you. He is a devout religious family man, but you have pushed him to the depths of hell. Really phenomenal stuff.
Yeah, I completely agree. It was a great line. He basically said, let me see if I can get the actual quote here. He basically said, I really feel like I might never see my brother again because and then AW says, because he might kill MJF in cold blood with zero remorse. He says he's worried a lot. It's like, MJF, make my day, damn it. So this was good stuff. I love silly Briscoe, Mark Briscoe. I love silly Mark, and I love serious Mark. So I'm really glad what we got here. I thought it was a good line. And MJF, his music hits. Of course, he doesn't come out, and he starts doing like a video promo. We think like he's gone or whatever, and then he attacks from behind. I love this part, and some people are going to miss out on this and be dumb, and some people are going to not catch on to this. But he attacks him from behind, knocks him out, or at least for a second, and says like, "Who's the coward now, Hangman? Like, who's the coward now?" Obviously MJF, because he just attacks him from behind.
Yeah.
But some people aren't going to get that. They're like, "Oh, MJF is so stupid." Obviously, he's come on, guys. But anyway, Hangman
The
comes
whole
out.
point of MJF is he's fucking delusional. That's the
Right.
whole thing.
Exactly, which is why I love him. But anyway, yeah, Hangman comes
Yeah,
out
birds of a
to
feather.
help Briscoe. And what would you say?
No, you were. I said, yeah, he's delusional, and you said, yeah, that's why I love him, and I said, yeah, birds of a feather.
Right, absolutely. So, little recap for our listeners right there. But anyway, so WWE over here. Either way, so this was good.
Here's what you
Briscoe
just saw.
tried to hit the J Driller. He didn't get it. That was the end of the show, basically.
Yeah. Well, you didn't get Hangman came down, which we should say.
I did mention that, but it
Did
might have
you?
gotten cut off. Yeah, I did.
Oh, to be honest, I was just still thinking about my recap. Just in case you missed it, I missed that Hangman came down. I have no idea where I'm going with this. But yeah, good. I thought this was I thought this was by far and away the best Dynamite of the residency. Well, the best show of the residency up to that point.
Yeah, I had to think about it. It's probably up there for me. I don't know. It was a really great show. I'd have to think more about that, but I had a really great time with it, and it was quite a ride. It was uneven in some parts. I feel like the Christian stuff did kind of bring it down
Yeah.
for me, and I also thought that I also wanted a bit more out of the women. I'm not saying it was bad, but I would have wanted more time dedicated to the women's tag match. I thought the formatting kind of put me off too. I still, despite that, thought this was a really great card overall. The Young Bucks match and the world title match were both pay-per-view quality. And then the Briscoe and Billy Starks matches were great as well, and a lot of building stories and stuff, which is hashtag what we do. So really liked that too. But
Yeah,
that's pretty much it
absolutely.
for Dynamite. We can go on to
Yeah.
Collision now, unless there's anything else you want to add.
No, there's nothing I want to add. Only to say, and this is a controversial opinion, but I said that the Dynamite that we just talked about was the best Chicago residency show up to that point. And I say up to that point because I think this Collision was better.
Wow. Big fan of
I know.
chloroform, huh?
Look, I just love people being thrown in front of trains.
Hey, me too. It means I get to see trains, and I'm legally obliged to like trains. So
Is that like part of the pact of autism?
back to autism. I've made like a pact with my god, which is called Tism. But yeah, I like to think so. I mean I genuinely do love trains, and I love model trains. I don't like have an obsession with them, but whenever I see trains, I get a little happy. And I think model trains are really cool. But anyway, this Collision was really great. I don't know if I call it the best show of the residency, but it's probably one of the best Collisions in a while. And not that the other ones have been bad or whatever, but this one had some matches that really stood out to me.
Yeah, absolutely. This show, man. Like, it starts off. I wanna put this over that it starts off with one of the best tag team matches of the last 6 months. Only to be then overshadowed by an even better tag team match later on in the night, which is incredible stuff. Like, we should talk about the first match first, obviously, which is another first round match in this tag title tournament. If you've been following,
Do you want to
which
talk
is
about the John Moxley stuff like all at once, or do you want to just skip over the
oh
opening
shit!
John Moxley?
I completely forgot that was like the first thing that happened in my head. That was after the match. But yes, we should start with that actually. Yeah, because Death Riders came over. You know, they jumped a security guard. John Moxley said that he wants Darby Allin out there right now. Basically, Mox had real dad energy in this, where it was like
Yes.
sort of, you get your ass out here right now. I need to,
Look at me when I'm talking to you. Look at me when I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
to you,
yeah.
boy.
Um, Darby sort of shows up on the balcony, and Mox is sort of ranted to him, and then Darby just disappears. He basically said like, "I've had enough of this shit. I'm not listening to you anymore." Um, at which point the Death Riders all sort of run after him. With Moxley saying like, "This is a smaller, this ain't a big arena. I'll find you." Um, which good stuff. And spoiler alert, uh, he is found, but not in the way you would expect. But yes, then we need to talk about this match, which was the Gates of Agony, and this was set up in the sort of main event of Dynamite. The Gates of Agony, Ricochet's henchman, versus Brodido of Brody King and Bandido. There was a guy in the live chat, by the way, that was very, very confused. He was like, "Where is the second D in Brodido coming from? How do you get Brodido from Brody King and Bandito?" And everyone was just sort of looking like, "What the fuck are you on about, dude?" I had to be the one that was like, "It's Bandito with a D." And he was like, "Oh, fucking." I was just I'm drunk, guys, and I was like, okay, dude, whatever you need to tell yourself. You know, literacy rates are dropping across the world. You're not alone. Um, but,
Sigh. I
but
don't
this
have
match.
much to add. Sigh.
Oh, Jesus Christ! But yes, anyway, um, this match was really, really good. I mean, unsurprisingly, because Bishop Khan and Toa Leona have been putting in the work. I think back to their match against the Hurt Syndicate. I believe was it Spring Breakthrough? You were there for it, right?
I was.
Th-
I
For my
believe they
money,
were in action. Yes.
one of the best Hurt Syndicate title defenses so far, and one of those matches that made you sort of stand up and and think, "Oh, these guys have something." and this was more than showcased in this match. And obviously, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about Bandido and Brody King have incredible chemistry for a team that's pretty much been thrown together. You know, Bandido filling Buddy Matthews' shoes, which is difficult to do because those shoes are significantly more swollen now that his ankle has ballooned. But this tag team is brilliant, and I really hope it is. If Buddy Matthews is out for as long as it's been speculated, this should absolutely be a semi-permanent fixture.
Yeah, I completely agree. Best wishes to Buddy, but this is a great move. They've got their own secret handshake. I don't know what else you want from a fucking tag team at this point.
Yeah, I know. I mean, no, what we want from a tag team, Dory, is
a good finisher.
A brilliant tag team finisher.
Yeah, hey, look at me go.
What I mean, let's just there are some really good things in the match itself. First of all, every time I see a cannonball from Brody King, I think, how is the person walking away from that? Brody King hits like a Death Valley driver on Toa Leona on the apron, and yet another reason why I thought he's got to be dead. Everything Brody King does makes me think that he's killing someone, especially his finisher.
Yeah, every time he hits that cannonball, I'm like, are they okay? Do we need to like go check them out?
Yeah, and then he hits the Gonzo bomb, and I'm like, oh no, they're not okay. Never mind. Yeah. It's like he crushes you against the turnbuckle, looks at you still breathing, and thinks, what if I just dropped him on his fucking head? Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we should talk about the tag team finisher because
this was really the big part. I mean, besides all the big meaty men slapping man meat, this move, I was, my mouth was agape. So basically, AEW results, or AEW's website basically says it can only be described as a leg launched 450 splash as King sent a running Bandito in the air onto Bishop Khan, of course, because Leona never gets pinned, and as you shouldn't. But this was so cool. I mean, I said earlier about how the Bucks thing got an instant like quarter of a star. This like got an instant, instant got a star. I was like, that's one of the coolest fucking things I've ever seen in my life, and they just pulled it out of nowhere. I've never seen that before.
It really was. It was incredible. So yeah, Brody King is sort of lying on the floor. Bandito runs at him, gets launched by Brody King's legs, flips up into a 450 splash, and that's what finishes it off. There's only so much we can do with the medium of words, writing or whatever. You just need to go and watch it if you haven't. It's one of the craziest moves I've seen out of tag team wrestling in a division that has the Young Bucks constantly doing things that nobody could ever do. This is the thing that got me like, oh, how the fuck did they do that? Like, incredible stuff, incredible. And it also means that, speaking of the Young Bucks, it also means that Brodito will be facing the Young Bucks next week on Dynamite in the semi-finals. And I adore the Young Bucks. I love the direction that they're going in, the not EVPs anymore. Brodito should 100% win that match. They just should.
Yeah, I agree. I don't. I remember saying this last year, during the All-In match, which ended up being a triple threat match, I think, with the Acclaimed. I think that's what happened. But I just don't want to see FTR versus the Bucks again, unless, I don't know, their careers are on the line or the title is on. Like, it's got to be major to justify it, and it's got to have a stipulation too, because I've seen them have like, I think all of their matches have been non-stipulation, right? Besides the triple threat with the Acclaimed. So, like, unless it's going to be like TLC or fucking a dog collar match, which I don't really think the Bucks would ever do. I mean, they've done blood and guts, but you know what I mean. Like I personally can't see them do that because they've never really been into. They've been into the crazy shit, but usually they don't blade a bunch. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I
Yeah,
could
I
be
know.
wrong there though.
Yeah, I mean, I just sort of have to. Yeah, I just sort of have to believe that they know that they just can't keep doing that. And I think the
Yeah,
whole point of this tag team tournament has been to sort of revitalize the division. And so I feel like it would be very much a wet fart to do this thing that's supposed to be showcasing your sort of, like I say, revitalized, rejuvenated division, and have the tournament end with yet another fucking FTR Young Bucks match.
yeah,
Like, there is such a thing as going to the well too many times.
yeah, for
You
sure.
know what I mean?
I really would have loved to see Jet Speed versus Brodito in the finals, but I think that would have been awesome. I think they're in the same bracket if I remember correctly. Or no, they're opposite brackets, right?
Um, yeah, well, yes, I believe so, yeah.
Okay. But anyway, so I would have loved to see that. I agree with you. We should be highlighting like newer tag teams. It shouldn't be FTR versus the Bucks every single time. Plus, it's heel versus heel. So I don't even know. I'm not saying you can't do that, but like it just feels kind of like what's the point, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no,
whatever.
I agree.
This was a
I
great
agree.
match.
It was a great match, and I do expect them to do the right thing. And if they don't, you bet your ass I will be on this podcast reaming them out for it. Um, but after that, we got a quick sort of uh, promo backstage with Don Callis, and he's with Lance Archer talking about Carl Fletcher's going to win the TNT title tonight. But Shane Taylor comes in, and we really wouldn't talk about this promo otherwise. But he says, "Look at you, you Vigo the Carpathian looking ass," and I was just like, that is a phenomenal reference. Like the pull, fucking Ghostbusters 2. Oh,
Yeah.
Shane Taylor is a man after my own heart. I love put Shane Taylor on the show more often, Mr. Khan, please. Um, but after that we had a quick conglomeration pep talk with Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and the rest of the conglomeration. I love the dynamic here between conglomeration Kyle and Paragon Roddy just being completely fed up with his shit.
I was honestly really expecting Roddy to just when they said that Willow said that she's gonna squash tackle like a bug. I honestly would have loved it if Roddy said Willow. It's technically an arachnid, not a bug. I really
Yeah.
would have loved that. That would have fit the tone of what Roddy was going for. But oh well, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I don't think he did that is because I genuinely think that was an off-the-cuff thing with Willow. Because I
Yeah.
think she was really. You could see either she's a phenomenal actor, which is not outside the realm of possibility, or she was genuinely struggling to pull the word out of her head. So
Right.
yeah. Um. But then after that, and before the next match, the Death Riders are in the sort of the caverns of the arena, looking for Darby Allin. The bells of the arena. When all of a sudden, Darby comes out of the shadows with what I have to assume is some sort of chloroform soaked rag, and just he kidnaps him. He just kidnaps John Moxley.
Yeah, I'm pretty
No other
fucking
way
sure
to.
that this was chloroform, or at least that was the implication.
I mean, yeah, John Moxley, he went for Darby, and the Death Riders when were trying to tell him no, but he would never say no, because of the implication. Thank you.
Da 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 da. Anyway, yeah, because of the implication. So, this was great. This was some Batman-esque shit. I loved it personally. I mean, obviously Adam did too, but this was good shit. I really like just Darby just picking them off one by one. Marina just looking in a door, and Moxley just kind of standing there, like waiting for her to show results. And I mean, you literally couldn't see Darby coming because most of him is covered in black, except for his fucking white face mask, of course, or painted face. And even that has some black on it, right? So yeah, it was good stuff.
Really good stuff. But then after that, we had a very quick showcase sort of women's match of Chris Statlander versus Lena Cross, who I'm told there was a lot of sort of speculation that she was being signed to TNA, that TNA were looking to sign her, a couple of days ago, and then almost immediately she pops up on Collision, which is very, very funny. Sign her, Tony, because from what I've seen of her, and I have seen some matches of her before, she's really good. She's one of those people that you would want just almost as depth in your roster, but also as a sort of eye to like, well, give her some chances and see what she does, because she has a lot of talent. Does Lena Cross?
Yeah.
And also on a show with some very successful Australians. Just worth a look. But this was as expected, just a squash match. She got a little bit of her stuff in, a little bit, but not a great deal. I think it was over in like a minute and a half or something, which fair enough. But this was all really about sort of what came after, because immediately after she wins, she's celebrating, and then Willow's music hits for her match, and there's just like that little bit of sort of tension in the air. They did pass each other on the ramp without issue, as it were, but it was obviously very deliberately juxtaposed. So I have to believe that I don't know where this is going. I genuinely don't. Are they going to feud again? I'd be fine with either them feuding or tagging again, especially if you're going to be doing the women's tag team tournament, which is in the works. So I don't know. Where do you think they're going with this?
Well, based on what we see later in the show, I wouldn't be surprised if Stat begrudgingly helps Willow, or at least makes it look like she's going to help Willow, and then costs her in the match, maybe, which sets up a feud. Or maybe, I don't know, like maybe they beat Willow down so badly that she eventually gets involved just for old time's sake, or just to prove to Willow that they are friends. I don't know. This has been done so well because Willow has not just instantly forgiven Stat. Stat has tried to do some work to get Willow to trust her again, but it's just not worked. And Stat's getting frustrated, so now she's trying to move on, but she constantly finds herself in Willow's shadow, this time like figuratively and literally. So I don't know. I mean, I'm as confused as you are about where this is going. Are they going to tag in? Are they going to feud? Gonna keep fucking passing each other like ships in the night? Like, I don't goddamn know.
No, I don't know either, but I'm very intrigued. This is one of those cases like we were talking about with MJF versus the Hurt Syndicate, where with that it's like I don't know what they're doing and I'm not sure. It's confusing and upsetting. Whereas this is like I don't know where they're going, but every option in front of me is very tantalizing. So please just I will let you cook.
Right.
But the match itself, Willow Nightingale versus Tekla, of course, and let's just say, Tekla has fit AEW like a glove. She's been absolutely incredible.
Yeah. I knew Tekla a little bit from Stardom, so I already had reason to believe that she was great as a character and on the mic. And I'd seen some decent work from her in Stardom, but because of her group, which has a lot of individually talented people, but they're just doing a fucking, New
It's
Japan.
Hate, which is her sort of former group, is very much the House of Torture of
But
Stardom.
but
And
but kawaii and also goth.
Yes, of course. But in terms of like, it's a bunch of very talented people who have been put together. Although I'm not sure I would use the word talented for a lot of people in House of Torture. But that's beside the point.
I
But
would
it's very
say
much
I would say that it's the better version of House of Torture, but it's not still not great. I was never every now and then they would get me with their heel tactics, but most of the time I just roll my eyes. They're the most tropish of heel stables ever, and I just
in
never
a
really
way,
connected with them.
in a way, they're sort of like the like the middle part of the Death Riders
Yeah,
in that sort of, very by the numbers, not boring, but that sort of slowing everything down, deliberately cutting off any sort of excitement heel antics. Which is
right.
what Tekla was forced to work for the last portion of her Stardom career. So anyone, I get people who were saying, "Oh well, she's not very good in ring," but that was her character. Her character was not supposed to be good in the ring. Her character was supposed to be the sort of heel that just kills people in the sense of like not putting on good matches, just brawling. But now she's come to AEW and she is able to showcase, it's a fresh start, fresh gimmick, able to showcase her talents, and she is an incredibly talented woman. Like
Yep.
some of the contortions that she had Willow in, and it's not easy to get Willow in some of the sort of positions that Tekla got her in because Willow
Ayo?
is. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. No, all I was gonna say was like Willow is a very sort of ground based wrestler. And plus, I'm not saying this in any sort of a pejorative way, but she is on the larger side. So to get her in positions where you're hitting like spider suplexes and upside down chokes in the ropes, like it looks so much more badass for the juxtaposition, I think. It's just my two
Yeah.
cents. I think
No, I
look at
agree. I agree with what you're saying. I'm just being a pervert. Uh, I I thought this was a great match. Very hard hitting. I really liked the physicality between these two women. I figured that Tekla was winning. I know some people were surprised, and obviously the crowd wasn't happy, but felt like
I
that
was
was the right
surprised.
choice because Tekla has both of her teammates, not her minions, but both of her teammates with her. And if she lost here, it would look pretty bad since they just started. Tekla's basically the leader, or at least positioning herself as the leader, which makes sense. I mean, Tekla has more experience than both Sky Blue and Julia, if I'm not mistaken. So,
Plus,
uh,
plus, I think just logistically, Tekla has the chops and the presence and the in-ring
plus, she was the
ability.
leader of hate. She was also the leader of hate. So
Yes, she was. Yes. Um, who is the leader of Hate now? Is it Sai? I assume it has to be like
it
Sai
has to be
Kamatani,
Saya Kamatani. If it's not Saya Kamatani, I'm doing a splash over off a bridge.
right? I don't know. I haven't been following Stardom a great deal, to
I
be
haven't.
honest.
I
But
haven't either. Not in a long time. But I love Saya. She's great. And
she
you
really
know,
is.
yeah.
Shout out if anyone hasn't seen, just watch the entirety of Grand Queendom from this year. It's a phenomenal, exceptional show. But if you don't want to be, that sort of person who watches like all the show, then just watch. First of all, watch what's the word I'm looking for? Watch SLK versus Azumi. Watch Sturi versus Mayu Iwatani in Mayu Iwatani's retirement match. Um, I refuse to acknowledge the existence of Marigold. Um, and also
A
especially
beautiful flower. I don't think it could ever be a wrestling promotion though.
no, exactly.
Yeah.
We love Mayu Iwatani. We hope she's doing well in her rest and retirement. Um, but especially watch the main event of Saya Kamitani versus Tam Nakano in Tam Nakano's actual retirement match.
Ironically, yeah.
I
But
was shocked. Sorry, just to
go
spin off
ahead.
into a tangent because it wouldn't be one of our podcasts if we didn't spin
Of
off into a
course.
tangent. I was shocked that Tam actually retired. I wasn't expecting it. I thought it would be like a end of her Stardom career.
Yeah.
So
A
I
promotional
was even
retirement.
I was even thinking to myself, oh my god, what if we get Tam Nakano in AEW? that would be incredible. But no,
Yeah.
it is. She has actually retired, and I'm very sad about that because she's a phenomenal wrestler. Well, she was a phenomenal wrestler, but we wish her good luck in her actual retirement.
Yes.
But anyway, yes, digression. I know.
So the beatdown
Um,
happens, of course. Tekla ends up
yes.
winning, and Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford are like, you know what? Fuck her. Let's beat her up too. And then Nightingale, Bane tries to powerbomb Willow. Then Queen Aminata, Ty Mello, Anna Jay all come out with weapons, which was awesome, to bail out a fourth member of their respective team, which would be Willow. Now, here's the thing. Who the fuck's the fifth person? Now, I think the obvious answer, right, is Stat. But do you do that with Willow and Stat having so many tensions? I mean, you could do it, and you could just say that they're on tense terms with each other, but they're willing to work together because they fucking hate everybody on the other side. You could also, like I said earlier, have Stat betray Willow, and Willow takes the pin, and then that spins off into Willow versus Stat round 2, which again, totally, just like Adam, totally into. There's a lot of options for this, but it doesn't even have to be Stat. It could be a returning Riho or returning Hikaru Shida, who I believe just got her passport. So you could do a lot of different things here. It's very exciting. If they are doing a blood and guts for the women, finally, I'm very excited. That's a big if, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably will happen because I think, first of all, there have been talks that they're going to be doing a women's Continental Classic. So I think they will be sort of, and they've done the first women's Casino Gauntlet now. I mean, they've done 2 of them, but I don't really count the first one. It wasn't much. But they've done a women's Casino Gauntlet at All In. They're very much sort of speed running the firsts for the women at the moment, especially with the tag title tourney on the horizon. So it would not surprise me in the slightest if we get this women's blood and guts match, and it's been really well set up if that is the case. I fully agree with you in terms of there are many different ways that you could spin that off. I personally think that Stat will help Willow and be the sort of fifth person, but we will see what they do.
Yeah.
Backstage, there was a promo with Billy Gunn and Anthony Bowens where they sort of yelled at each other and further teased the heel turn. Good. If they can pull this off, I will be back on the Anthony Bowens train. But for the moment, let me know when we get there, sort of thing. That's where I'm at.
Yeah,
sorry,
I'm with you.
Swerve is, backstage as well, talking about, he's taken everything from the Young Bucks, but he will be vigilant against them, trying to weasel their way back into power. But he is also going to stop Kazuchika Okada too. Okada doesn't think much of Sir Strickland, blah, 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 blah. All that to say that it has been officially set up for the AEW Unified Championship at Forbidden Door, which I am again going to be at. It's Swerve Strickland versus Kazuchika Okada. And I've seen people be mad at this online, being like, oh, well, that's another not Forbidden Door match. Could not care less. I talked about this, on a podcast quite recently with you. New Japan is in a very dire situation right now, in the sense that, like, a lot of their top stars are out, and a lot of their other top stars are shit. So I really couldn't give any less of a toss about the Forbidden Door aspect of Forbidden Door. I would much rather have, like, 2 or 3 New Japan versus AEW matches and just have the rest be AEW versus AEW. Or AEW versus, like, Stardom or CMLL. I'd be much happier to see someone like Mystico, or, I don't know, like, Saya Kamitani or Azumi or someone like that on the show than I would to have fucking Evil on this fucking show.
There's multiple parts to this. So the first part, which you and I have already talked about with other people, it's just a bad time of the year to schedule anything with NJPW because they have the G1 going on and because Stardom has their own version of the G1 going on, I believe. as well
Yeah.
as some conflicting pay-per-views. Again, I'm not clear on all the details, but that seems to be the case, generally speaking, every year. So,
Yeah.
and number two, because NJPW and Stardom both love their fucking tournaments, which I appreciate because I love a good tournament, just like Tony Khan. It's always kind of a tricky time to book overseas talent. Number three, the political climate. We don't have to get too deep into this, but it's pretty obvious that it's harder and harder for people from other countries to get into America. So that's definitely a big part of it. We've seen a lot less of Yuka Sakazaki, a lot less of Riho, and a lot of Shida. Now, some of that's injuries, some of it's TK just not seeing as much as maybe the rest of us do. I don't know, but some of it is definitely visa stuff. Number four, and my last point, Forbidden Door. I know it was built on NJPW, but the Forbidden Door isn't just about NJPW. Like you said, we could have stuff with CMLL. You could do stuff with other promotions besides NJPW, right? You could do stuff with Stardom. You could do stuff with CMLL. Fuck, you could do stuff with I don't know. Is there anybody in fucking Scott D'Amore's promotion that's worth doing anything with? I don't know. But I'm just like throwing out ideas.
I don't think Scott Demore. I don't think Maple Leaf Pro has contracted talent.
Okay. I didn't think so either, but they were the only fucking name I could think of. But that was like not in America and was like a name I could let's get Mystery Wrestling in there. You know, it's the best thing. Way too much money is what I hear Uno is investing. So you could do that too. But realistically, you'll get a couple NJPW matches. I don't get this because 2 matches have been announced. Just 2. And suddenly everybody on the internet's like, oh, well, that means that there's no NJ versus AEW matches. When again, that's not even the whole fucking point of Forbidden Door is bigger than just NJPW. And like you said, the Ghetto's not booking the place right sometimes. A lot of the time, I don't know. Again, I stay away from NJPW for the most part just because of his questionable booking practices. But I mean, you can let me know if this is accurate or not, but it seems like generally speaking, Ghetto's not doing a great job. So, I'm not really that upset that it's
That
not going to
is
be
putting it mildly.
oof. So,
Trust
I'm
me.
trying to be nice, but yeah.
No, trust me. That like, oh Jesus fucking Christ! Like, anyone online who is, giving AEW shit for sort of big league in New Japan and not having them be equals at their promotion, it has not been watching New Japan. This New Japan in 2025 deserves to be big leagued by AEW. It does not deserve 16,000 people in the O2 arena. It barely deserves 500 people in York Hall with the way that it's been going.
Yeah.
Frankly, Gedo should take whatever Tony Khan is offering him with this show. Quite frankly, the report has always been that AEW and New Japan split sort of revenue and cost whatever 50-50. In which case, New Japan is getting away with murder with how they have been operating, in the build-up to this Forbidden Door. I tell you what, Dominion broke me. And I don't want to go on another rant about New Japan on this show, but it just broke me. So anyone that is parroting this sort of line of like, oh well, it's only it's disrespectful to New Japan. Why is this not Forbidden Door? I don't fuck it. I'm paying over £100 for my ticket. I don't want Forbidden Door. Forbidden Door to me sounds like I don't fucking know. Hangman versus Evil. If that ever happens, you can find me chucking myself off the Shard. Like, no, absolutely not. I refuse to be drawn in on this bullshit. The people who are saying this, you think you want it, you really don't. You want an AEW show compared to a New Japan show at the moment. You want as much AEW as you can possibly plaster over this show because it will paper over the absolute gaping chasms that is New Japan's booking at the moment. Anyway, rant over.
Yeah.
Swerve versus Okada is going to be.
It is. And also, what was, well, I won't say incredible, but really great, was the next tag title eliminator match. FTR versus the Bang Bang Gang, which, by the way, card Blade was back. Was very excited about that.
Yes, and Cardston
Yes,
Gunn.
that's right.
I'm still not entirely sold on the honey monster getting a shave and a suit and whatever, but I don't know. I'm willing to let Juice Robinson play out his serious fantasy. Whatever works for you, but just know that you will be donning the beard and talking about how hard you are by the year's end if this continues.
I can already see the beard starting to come back in, patchy, but it's there. So I wonder if he's slowly going to turn back into a maniac.
One hopes, but not to disparage the work in this match, because the work in this match was really really good. Um, this wasn't the iteration of the Bang Bang Gang that had the incredible match with FTR 2 years ago, but they still put on a really really good match.
Yeah, I agree. Lots of false finishes, lots of near falls, high impact moves. A bit of the power and the glory on Dax, which was great. Robin's Juice looked really good with his punches as always. And I mean, I just sold me on it. And eventually I was like, damn, I really want them to win. Really want the Guns to win. But of course, FTR won. I do think FTR are going to win the whole tournament. I would have them go over Brodito. And I know, that's putting FTR. But I don't know. On the other hand, I want them versus Cope and Christian down the line with the titles on the line. And so that's a lot of lines. There's a lot of ways you could do this. I wouldn't be mad at all if Brodito won the whole thing and FTR found a way to weasel themselves into the title picture to make it a three-way match at Forbidden Door. But I don't think that'll happen. I think FTR are going to win the whole thing, and they're going to fight the Hurt Syndicate. And I do think the Cope and Christian or the Patriarchy get involved, and they Hurt Syndicate lose.
Yeah, could not agree more. Also, just want to say briefly, Danny Garcia was on commentary for this match. He added nothing, and he kept talking about how much he wants to be on the card of Forbidden Door. I love Danny, but the Zero Hour is calling.
What is that a reference to?
Oh, Danny boy,
Oh, okay.
the pipes are
Yes.
calling.
Yeah, I got it.
But you're
yeah.
not getting on that show, you're not getting on that show, boy,
Real
unless you.
scenes when Zack Sabre Jr. Faces Daniel Garcia in the semi-main event of the card. Going to be really excited for that one, Adam.
I will. If it happens, I'm sure it'll be good. It won't happen though.
Yeah, no, much better chance of Nigel
I was going
versus
to say
Zach.
there is a very good option on the cards, and it is Nigel McGuinness, and I just think that's what they're going to do. And I hope they do.
Yes. But either way, this
yeah.
was a really great match. I got sold on it a lot. I don't know. Did you ever bite on any of this stuff? Because I bit quite a bit.
Yeah, I did. I bit on. I think there was like a sunset flip after Stokely tried to distract the ref, and it didn't work, and Juice Robinson got like a sunset flip, very very close to pinning. I believe it was Dax. Like a real 2.9.
At one point,
situation.
I was just like, "Fucking come on, Dax, just stop kicking out, bro."
I know. I got really frustrated with him. I was like, "For fuck's sake, Dax, know when you're done.
Take the pin. Fuck you."
Oh yeah, but there was some really excellent near falls. We can't do it justice. Go and watch it.
Yeah, go and watch it for sure.
Yeah, I want to sort of speed through some of this because I want to talk about the main. So we got that technique by Taz that I mentioned about Athena. She said that. Oh, she did say that. I'm just reading through my notes. Apparently, she said she's ready to sign the contract for Forbidden Door.
Okay, so she is cashing in, but not in the like we thought she would do it in a. This is weird. But isn't she supposed to be a heel? I don't know. This is weird.
I don't know, but yeah, on Wikipedia, which we know is a very reliable source, it does say this will be Athena's Casino Gauntlet Guaranteed Championship match.
Well, fuck me. Okay.
Yeah,
I hope
yeah.
she
Sorry
wins.
to negate. Sorry to negate all of your. She better fucking win. Let me tell you.
God damn. I don't know.
Tony
I'm
Tony
very
Khan
nervous
will.
now.
Tony Khan will not make it out of Greenwich if she doesn't.
Fucking hell, dude. Oh, I'm so nervous. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. This Luther's gonna come back from his fucking snapped penis and cost Athena. Ugh.
I forgot about that.
That's a shoot. Or I think it's a shoot. Because he didn't show up in fucking Prestige either. They had been building him up to show up at a Prestige show to see one of the wrestlers he had a long history with. And he ultimately couldn't do it. So, yeah.
I mean, I doubt it's a shoot that he snapped his cock, but I imagine it's a shoot that he's injured in some way.
Yeah, yeah. I just meant it was a shoot he's injured. But also I think it's a shoot that he snapped his dick. Anyway,
Anyway,
I don't
yes.
actually know if that's true. But
Um,
let's talk
Max
about the most
Max
important thing on the
Caster's
card. Let's talk about the most
yes.
important thing on the card. All right, let's talk about this. So first off, Max Caster, you beautiful man. I don't like a lot of the things you've said in the past, but this goddamn gimmick is so good, dude, that I don't even care. This was fucking incredible. So for those who don't know, and Adam, please double check on this. Roosh was, I believe, the first person to ever answer the Max Caster Open Challenge. Now, it wasn't 5 minutes at the time, but still, I believe that Roosh was the first one, or at least one of the first people to
He
answer
was the
Max Caster's
first.
Open. He was the first. Okay, that's what I thought. So, Roosh comes out, and Max just fucking books it. I mean, you would, right? Even here, I can't blame Max for booking it. And Roosh is just beating the shit out of him, He's just like he's like just he's just beating the shit out of him. He's kicking him, he's punching him, he's throwing him into the guardrails, he's getting himself suspended probably 20 more times. And then as Roosh is setting up for the drop kick to the corner, the bell rings. And I love this, by the way. I'm
Brilliant.
going to read it at how it sounds to me on the AEW website. So I'm gonna back up a little bit. Max Caster has survived the 5 minutes! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. And I mean, it was just awesome. Max raises his hand in kind of victorious defeat. I don't know if you've heard about this meme before, but mission failed successfully is the only thing I
Yeah.
can think of when it comes to this. Like, you won, Max, but did you really win? Also, it's technically a draw, but just like it's just incredible. Anyway, I'm done ranting about this happily. Gushing.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
So good.
And Jet Speed and AR Fox made the save for Max Caster, which I think is very. I mean, I say they made the save for Max Caster. They had an excuse to go and beat up LFI, so they took
Right.
it. But yeah, phenomenal stuff. Mercedes Moné is back next week on Dynamite. Very, very funny that she just decided to completely skip the entire residency. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Just deciding, yeah, you know what, fuck you, Chicago. I don't want anything to do
I'm
with you.
hoping she doesn't do the same for Philly because I was able to actually get tickets and I'll be going to see the Dynamite the week after the post Forbidden Door Dynamite. So I'll be seeing that Dean show as well. I'm very excited about
Please, please, my CEO, you don't want to go to Philadelphia. Please do it. I will love you forever. It'd be so fucking funny.
that. Earlier when you were like, I've never seen Athena, I almost said, well, I've seen it. Looks at camera. I remember seeing Athena once in New York. Just stares at camera.
Oh yeah. Was that good? Did that have a satisfactory conclusion for you?
I don't want to talk about it. I'm crying on the inside. I'm also crying on the inside about this next match.
We
Skyflight.
really okay. We really, really do not need to talk about this
No, we
next
don't.
match. I'm not just
No,
saying that. This was a
nothing
nothing
happened.
burger. I
No,
love Shane
I've
Taylor.
never
I
felt
love
so much nothing about a match. Yeah.
I love Shane Taylor. I love the infantry. This was nothing. It was a 6-minute match. Skyflight got the win. Good for Scorpio Sky in top flight, I guess. I really could not give any less of a shit about you.
Yeah.
Sorry to Christopher Daniels that you can't go and enjoy Mai Tais on a beach. Instead, you have to go to cloudy Chicago on a Thursday night and go and manage this cobbled together mishmash of whatever the fuck this is. Of all the people on your roster, why did you feel the need to bring back Scorpio Sky? Anyway, I'm giving this way too much. Like, we talked about this for like a minute, which is a minute more than it deserves.
I love the way, I'm going to force us to move on. I love the way that AEW words this. Darby Allin nearly gets ultimate revenge on John. Ultimate revenge. Now, what could that mean, dear listener? Well, it means that he almost pushed him off a fire escape into a running train. Like, oh my god, this was incredible. This couldn't have even gone 2 minutes, but it was incredible.
Ultimate revenge sounds like a TikTok euphemism for murder.
Yeah.
You don't shut the fuck up, I'm gonna commit ultimate revenge on you.
Yep. Oh my god.
But yeah, he genuinely attempted to murder Jon Moxley, which I feel like is justified. You know, Jon Moxley pushed him down the stairs, which I feel like is attempted murder adjacent.
Yes.
So, you know, I feel like he's well with... I mean, he's not well within his rights to try and, you know, commit homicide, but... you know, it is one of those things that you will that you sort of understand. But yeah, this was brilliant. This had me absolutely rolling. You know, just the sort of escalation of like, you know, Jon Moxley's trying to sort of find him in the arena, and you expect him to sort of jump him and, you know, perhaps sort of lay him out. No, he just tries to murder him. Okay, good for you, Darby. I guess Mount Everest gave you a sort of clarity that the legal system just doesn't seem to respect nowadays.
Yeah. Good shit. I liked, my headcanon is that Mox won't try to go to the authorities, because if they do, they'd be like, didn't you do this, and this on live national television?
Yeah, just you know, imagine him being like, he tried to murder me, and they're like, Jon Moxley, we've been looking for you. Have a seat, please.
Mr. Jonathan Good, we're really excited to see you, actually. Come with us. Come walk this way, please. But yes. Speaking of murder, and
oh my
Adam,
God.
I will let you start with this. We had
my
the creme de la creme. This was a really great match. I loved it. Chicago Street Fight for the TNT title. Fletcher versus Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes specifically. Just go ahead, Adam. This was great.
So there was a lot of discussion when Dustin Rhodes won the title in Texas. You know, it was obviously an audible called after Adam Cole sort of, you know, took his leave of absence. So as to not deflate the crowd with a heel win to give them a feel-good moment. And there was people saying that, was it the right decision, blah, 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 blah. Should you have just crowned Carl Fletcher? Every single argument you could possibly make for that position was absolutely blown out of the water by this match. This was the crowning moment to end all crowning moments. This made Carl Fletcher look like an absolute monster. And also, Dustin Rhodes is one of the best bleeders in wrestling history. This was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I did sort of see this. This got 5 stars from good old Mr. Mel.
It absolutely did.
And it deserves every single one of them, because this was a street fight that was it somehow hit all the notes that you would expect from a street fight, and yet felt completely different, which I gotta be honest, you know how much I love Carl Fletcher. I credit that in its, you know, not in its entirety, but predominantly to Dustin Rhodes and his selling. Because Dustin Rhodes, I don't think, gets enough credit for just how much of a brilliant seller of offense that he is. You know, there's a moment, like, when he initially goes for... I can't remember what spot it is. There are so many spots that we could talk about. But when he initially, you know, does the knee, and it's like, he's, you know, obviously that's going to be the bullseye that Carl Fletcher goes after. I genuinely thought that he'd fucked his knee up. I thought, oh no. You know, we were so looking forward to this match, and now he's gone and fucked his knee up.
I thought the opposite. I thought, oh no, they're going to do a worked injury angle. The Doc Samson is going to call the match off, and that's how Fletcher. You know how you said earlier that your stomach, like, your heart sinking to the bottom of your stomach or whatever the fuck. Like
Yeah.
that's during the Hangman Mox match. That's what happened to me here because I'm like, oh no, they're not going to have Fletcher go over clean. They're going to do this bullshit injury angle where, like, yeah, like Fletcher destroyed him so bad and he wins and he gets the title, but it's like, it's not a pin. It's like oh, he's too hurt. But then he waved off Doc Samson. I was like, oh, fucking thank God. Because that's what I thought they were going to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth mentioning that in, like, first of all, thank God they didn't do that, because that didn't even come into my head. That would have been a diabolical way to do it. And not in, like, the good new way that people use diabolical, in the bad traditional way of, like, devilish. With the work of El Diablo. But yeah, this match was incredible. In the first 2 minutes, they've set up a table on the outside. Carl Fletcher goes for like a suicide dive and absolutely stacks it into the table. Like that was brilliant stuff. You just sort of and Dustin Rhodes gets busted open real fucking quick, by the way.
Yeah.
Which, makes sense. You got a bleeder like that. You don't want to leave him not in the crimson for the majority of this match. There's a cowbell that's introduced, which longtime viewers of SNL got very excited about.
Yep.
There were multiple sort of table bumps. I'm dancing around the thing.
You sure are.
There was a top rope. Dustin Rhodes broke out a top rope Canadian destroyer through the table. Which was absolutely insane.
I'm not saying I actually wanted Fletcher to lose, right? That's not what I'm saying here. But at one point, I was like, fuck it. If Dustin wins, I'm not even going to be that mad. Because, like, his performance here was so good. And he's in his fucking mid-50s, right? And he's been doing this for, like, 30 years? More than 30 years? Like, it's incredible what he can still do.
Yeah, this was intended as a star-making performance for Carl Fletcher. He was already a star, but you know what I mean. This was like a crowning moment. This was a star-reminding performance by Dustin Rhodes. This was a stamp of like, you all forgot that I am a really excellent wrestler, and I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to get.
I've never said this before, but he ain't called the natural for no fucking reason. I mean, the man delivered.
Yeah, he really did. This is the most impressed I've been with Dustin Rhodes probably since the Cody match, probably, which is what, like 6 years ago?
Yeah.
Like, this was really excellent stuff. But yes, we do have to talk about the spot. First of all, we should say that he got a glove of thumbtacks.
A golden glove, I noticed.
A golden glove of thumbtacks. And hit Carl Fletcher with the iron claw and dig in the thumbtacks right into his flesh. Because there's no hair to barricade Carl Fletcher anymore. Like, he got those thumbtacks right in the head. Yeah, speaking of thumbtacks, Carl Fletcher sort of gets this bag of thumbtacks, pours them onto the thing, and it is the great axiom of wrestling that he who introduces the thumbtacks shall inevitably go into them. So Dustin, I think he power slammed him onto the thumbtacks, right? Which, gnarly enough as it is. But then Dustin Rhodes sets up Carl Fletcher in the corner for his, shattered dreams kick, his punt to the testicles. But before he strikes, he grabs a handful of thumbtacks and legitimately pours them onto Kyle's dick and balls. Like, opens up his trunks and empties the thumbtacks down into his trunks. I don't know how you fake that. There's no way he faked it. There's absolutely no way he faked it, and I'll tell you why there's no way he faked it. Because after the match, while he's celebrating, there's legitimately blood coming out of his trunks. So Carl Fletcher has thumbtacks on his dick and balls, on his bangers, and on his sausage and beans, and Dustin Rhodes kicks him in his thumbtack covered dick, and I screamed. I absolutely lost my shit. It is the most brutal, like, oh Jesus Christ! It as a man, it just makes you shrivel. It just makes you absolutely want to curl up into a ball and die seeing someone go through that.
And as someone who is assigned male at birth, made me shrivel too. Yeah, that was. I don't know what to add, folks. I don't have much to add. I yelled. Adam yelled. We all screamed. I screamed. It was horrible. Kim couldn't believe it was happening either. She was just aghast. And she's seen a lot of shit at this point. I mean, it's yeah.
Yeah.
This was wild.
It's also worth mentioning, in terms of like permanent damage done, that's not even the worst thing that happens in this match. Because after that, Don Callis hands Carl Fletcher the screwdriver, once he's recovered from having razor sharp thumbtacks kicked into his cock. He hands Carl Fletcher the screwdriver, at which point you think, oh, well, he's going to stab he's going to stab Dustin Rhodes in the head, it's going to be worse. No. He stabs him in the knee, and it sticks in his knee. He's like 55. He's like, he's had knee problems in the past, and you've just gone and stuck. I don't know if this one might have been a work. I will say that. I haven't watched it back. There is an entire possibility that he manages to stick it in his like knee brace. But oh no. I don't know. It looked for all the world like he properly stuck that screwdriver into his patella. Like, oh god. At which point, you're thinking it's done. It's completely done. Carl Fletcher gets him up for the brainbuster. Dustin Rhodes counters into a small package and gets like a 2.9, and I genuinely, they sold me a house on that. I thought that he might have done it. But alas, Carl Fletcher, gets him up, hits him with a brainbuster into the thumbtacks. 1, 2, 3. Carl Fletcher is your new TNT champion. What a match! I'm a bath of sweat just describing the shit that happened in this match. And fun fact, I'm showing my best friend the match tomorrow, so I will get to relive that spot once again. Pray for Mojo. Jesus Christ. What a match.
I don't
Oh no.
I don't have a lot to add. I really don't have a lot to add. I'm usually not at a loss for words, but I mean, I feel like Adam's really covered it. I'm sure there's a lot he wanted to cover in this match. And I mean that figuratively and literally. There's just so much. This was so good. It was very physical. It was a great way to put Kyle over. I'm glad we gave Dustin a short reign and then gave Fletcher this win. So I don't have much else to add. This was a really great match. Now, is it 5 stars? No, I don't think it's 5 stars. But I did think it was a really great match and super fun, super entertaining. Just a really, really fun TV main event that is gory and has a lot of high impact moves, creative, if you want to say, spots. just a well done business right here. So, I mean, that's really all I have to say about it. Right winner, great match.
Absolutely. Really, one of those matches that you will look back on in like a few years as A, one of the gnarliest fucking spots you'll ever see, and B, one of those moments where it's like, oh yeah, that's when Carl Fletcher became, he's not the proto star anymore. He's just a star. He is just a star of the show, a main event guy. And I fully expect in like 2-3 years we will talk about Carl Fletcher in W World Championship terms. I do think that title is going on Carl Fletcher sooner rather than later. In the next 2 years. That's my prediction. But that should wrap it up for us. We've gone a full 2 hours on this one, which is to be expected when we're talking, 4 hours worth of content. But
Right.
yeah, some absolutely phenomenal stuff in those 4 hours. Like, what a 2-night extravaganza of wrestling this was.
Yeah, both really great shows. An excellent week for AEW. I'm very excited to be going to the residency in September and seeing some Dean especially. So I would have seen the ROH show. It's a little too close now, being the beginning of August and now and then that would be late August. So, but I'm really excited to see Dean live in person. Honestly, that kind of means more to me than ROH, just because Dean is more unpredictable to me, and based on some of the people that I watch online every now and then, like Joseph Monticello. I'm gonna completely butcher his name, and I'm so sorry.
I think you're right there, Joseph Monticello.
Okay, because I wasn't sure, but anyway, he's really good, and he talks about Action Dean all the time, or he talks about action, and so I'm very excited to see some of them, especially Mad Dog Connolly. So,
Mm.
yeah. Anyway, really excited about that. I'm excited about Forbidden Door and what comes next for that pay-per-view in terms of them announcing matches. It is on my birthday. It's going to be such a busy day for me, and it's on a weird time because I believe there's a curfew or something for y'all. So they got to wrap it up before 10 o'clock your time.
Yeah.
Well, for our time, like 1 p.m. or something like that. So my time specifically.
But yeah, it'll be an excellent show, and I'm very very excited for it. But yeah, that'll wrap us up. I want to thank Dory for joining me. I want to thank Justin, our producer, for constantly putting up with us. You know, he is really the unsung hero of the whole thing. I want to thank everyone who watches on a regular basis. I know that sometimes I can be annoying. Sometimes Dory can be annoying about trying to get people to watch. But I know, shocking. But it really does mean the most. And to anyone who is checking us out for the first time, please let us know what you thought. Please, like, or even if you didn't like it, dislike, just let us know, because feedback is always welcome. Although if you do dislike, I have technology that can determine your IP address. So just bear it in mind. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. Do all the things. You know what to do. Everyone tells you at the end of every video what to do, so I don't need to tell you again. You just hearing the same shit from every other person. But thank you everyone to watching. We'll be back for a Dynamite review next Thursday, assuming that Collision isn't on a Thursday again, which I don't
I
think it
believe it's
is.
back on Saturday.
Hallelujah. But yeah, we'll be back next, Friday by the time we upload, I should imagine. But that should do it for us. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.
Bye, everybody.